Hey everybody, this is S. Anthony Thomas. This is the S. Anthony Says podcast. Before we get started, I just want to thank the people from over my YouTube channel who eventually came over here and started listening to the podcast. I know you. I notice you. Thank you very much. This is episode number 498, and I'm gonna do a callback to the episode you heard last week. And you know, when I talked about people who are really reliable, and I'm proud to say that my people that know me considered me to be a reliable person. That's what I'm going to talk about in this episode. And I'm going to call this is episode number 498. I'm going to call this episode, Don't Be Too Reliable. Right? Now, you would think that that's kind of a weird thing to say, don't be too reliable, because being reliable is a positive trait. When somebody can count on you, it's positive. But some people, around those people, being reliable is a bad thing. Right? A lot of times you hear people say, well, I had to get rid of him because he was a nice guy. Why? Well, he's always where I want him to be. He's always this. He's always that. And a lot of times the guy or the gal gets dumped because the other person takes them for granted because they're so reliable. In those cases, as it turns out, when the person becomes older and they realize trying to be with Captain or Captain Exciting isn't the best way, because a lot of times you wind up getting emotionally hurt and sometimes physically hurt because, you know, they wind up mouthing off and then you got to fight for them. You realize that, like I said, reliability is a good thing most of the time. And 90% of the time, me being damn near 100% reliable to the people around me is a good thing. But sometimes you're too reliable, right? If you're too reliable, all of a sudden people start to think of you as a tool for their life. They start to think of you as somebody that they can count on so much that there are certain things they no longer have to do because you will cover for them. Right? I had one friend back in the day. He made way more money than the rest of us. We all started to do comedy. We all broke. Right? And this guy was making a lot of money because his family came from money. He really came from money. He had a lot of money, and then he started making money on his own. So he had money, and we all knew comedy wasn't going to be his career, but it would be something that he'd do for a long period of time because he enjoyed it. So this guy always had money, and he had so much money that when we would go out to the bars and stuff, we were all prepared to pay. We were all doing okay, you know, enough to pay for our bar tab. I didn't drink. I drank soda. I was like 18. I wasn't old enough to drink, but they let me in the bars anyway because I did comedy. But the thing is, people got so used to him picking up the tabs that there came times when people would order more stuff than they would normally order. You know what I'm saying? They'd get like some nachos or something like that for a couple of bucks. But then I'm gonna splurge, man. I'm gonna get myself, and then buy a whole meal at the bar. You know, I don't remember what it cost. It was like 5,000 years ago, but whatever it was exponentially more than just buying nachos and drinking a beer, right? So they were ready to splurge. He comes in, and nobody's even thinking about the fact. We know he's got money, but we're all grown men and grown women. We're not expecting this guy to pay our tabs. But guess what he did? Oh, that's right. He paid the tab, right? And we're like, oh, man. And we're thinking it's a one-time thing. Well, that's great. I get to keep my money in my pocket. That's fantastic. Hey, everybody's having a great time. But then he did it again and again and again and again. It got to the point where all of a sudden there were people that didn't even bring that much money with them because they knew he was going to pay. You know? So they're buying all this kind of stuff. And then one day, his dad needed him to work for him at his job. So he didn't show up at the bar because he was working doing some kind of night crap for his father. And all of these dopes ordered stuff expecting not to have to pay for it. Oh, yeah. They relied on him when they shouldn't have. He didn't do anything wrong. He was just not available. They relied on him too much. So all of a sudden, everybody had to, luckily, take their credit cards out. Now I got to pay 18% interest on this sandwich. Yeah, that's right, stupid, because you keep making the minimum payments. Now, in that particular instance, it wasn't like he wasn't unreliable, but their reliable source of something getting paid for them disappeared. But sometimes people will put themselves in peril thinking that you're reliable. We had a huge friend. Well, we still have a huge friend. He's not dead. We had a huge friend, big giant dude. You know, I talked about him in my podcast before, or one of my podcasts, where he was the guy that I was talking to, where he could literally, I was talking to him. I'm average height. I'm like 5'8". He was almost a foot taller than me. And I was standing there talking to him. He was holding a refrigerator in his hands while talking to me. We were laughing and joking and roasting each other. And I looked down and I noticed that the bottom of the refrigerator was about 6 inches off of the ground. And I looked at him, I'm going, you want to put that down? He goes, oh, yeah. Boom. And he puts it down. I'm going, man, I knew you were strong, but I didn't know you were roast one of your close friends while holding a refrigerator in the air and not notice you're holding it up strong. We started laughing. I said, man, I was planning on him beating you up, but now that I see this, I think better of it. We laughed and joked, right? Then he gave me a playful hit on the shoulder, and I woke up in France. Okay, that part didn't happen, but you know what I'm saying. So we know how strong this dude is, and he was one of the nicest, well, still one of the nicest guys in the world, and wouldn't hurt a fly unless he had to, right? But normally, because of his physical presence, he never had to raise his hands. You see this sucker walk in the room, and right? So we had one friend who didn't last long in our friendship group because he was an ass, who would start crap with people, right? And because my friend was so huge, my friend would be walking back from the other side of the bar, and the guy's like, yeah, let me tell you something. I'm going to kick your, oh my God, when he would see my friend. Whoa. Hey, whatever I said was going to happen is not going to happen because, good Lord, I got to go. Right? Half the time, my big friend didn't even realize that the other guy, the mouthy guy who did not last long in our friend group because of this, did not realize that he was getting himself in trouble, because before my friend would walk over, and just the physical presence of him would make other people just get the heck out of there. A lot of times he didn't even realize there was a problem, right? So his presence was reliable. Big giant dude, reliable. You point to your friend, reliable. Hey man, I'm gonna call my friend. Oh well, I want no problem with that guy. But one time, this guy started mouthing off, got a little bit too comfortable, and mouthed off to a dude. I heard the story. I wasn't there for it, and everybody loved telling me too. They love telling me, hey man, you gotta hear this ass. He got his behind whoop, Jack. The dude whooped on him good, Jack. Right? He mouths off to a dude, right? And the dude's like, man, you better get out my face, man. I'm telling you, man, I don't care, man. My boy will take care of it. And as it turns out, our big friend was in the bathroom. And he wasn't standing up when he was in the bathroom. He was sitting down when he was in the bathroom. So he wasn't going to very quickly come out of the bathroom. He was in the bathroom probably going, or something like that, because he ate some stuff he shouldn't have eaten. Because that's beside the point, and also a disgusting story that I may tell at a later time. So he wasn't available for an extended period of time. I wasn't there to diffuse the thing, and some of my other friends weren't there to diffuse the thing. He was there, kind of around there. And, of course, how can I put this? The dude did what I like to refer to. I don't want to say what he did to the guy. It rhymes with whoop his ass, and whoop his ass good. Okay, that's not the rhyme. That's the actual thing. But you get the point, right? So the guy whoops his ass and walks out. So he's sitting at the bar holding his eye in his jaw, right? Lips a little swollen. And my big friend comes out there, but what the hell happened to you? Hey, man, what the hell happened to you, man? This guy, and he goes, man, you know what? I ain't hanging out with you no more, man. I'm getting tired of you getting in trouble. And all of a sudden, what about I have to fight the guy? Then I'm going to wind up hit this guy, and I got to go to jail because you stupid. No, forget this. And that was how he got evicted from our friend group. He was relying on my friend's physical presence to solve problems. And unfortunately, my friend was in the bathroom releasing something from his physical presence into the toilet and wasn't there to stop the buttocks whooping. So sorry. Now, I've also been in a situation like that. As Mr. Reliable, I've taken people to work at 5 o'clock in the morning to the point where it almost messed up some of my comedy shows. I still was able to do the comedy show successfully, but I was tired, and I know the difference between when I'm sharp and when I'm a little bit off. The audience couldn't tell, but I could tell, and I didn't like it. But I still helped them out as long as I could, right? I was there. I was one of the people that was one of the first people to have a brand new car. And my brand new car was like a little Econo box. It would be the equivalent of a Toyota Corolla today. But it was my first new car, and none of the other fools had a new car. And man, how come you ain't going to go party with us? I'm saying, I'm saving for a car. Man, you corny, man. Man, just come out and hang with us. I said, I need 4 months to save for the down payment on my new car. I can afford the payments, but I need to have a nice size down payment so I can lower my monthly payments. Come on, man. And they were roasting me. He ain't no fun, man. I thought you was the best, man. You was always the best life of the party, man. And you little punk behind you. 4 months later, I pull up in a brand new car. And they're all like, oh, right? Now, because I'm the only one with a brand new car and they're all driving pieces of crap, I become Captain Reliable. I'm the one that whenever they need something, I had a hatchback. So like, hey man, you got the hatchback, man? I'm going to go shopping. Can I go shopping when you go shopping and I can load the car up? I'm like, hey man, no problem. I'll put my stuff in the hatchback back section and you put all your stuff in the back seat and the floor and we'll just go at the same time. Cool. And I would do that. No problem. I'm already going shopping. This is my friend. No problem. Hey man, I'm drunk. Where you at? Nope. All right, I'll come get you. I don't want you. Yeah, I'll come get you. That's how it was, and I had no problem with that for the most part. But there's always that one friend, just like the guy, who got his behind whooped. He wasn't as bad as that because we're still friends to this day. But he started to, and he's listening, and I have permission to tell the story, so don't worry about it. Because we're like 30 years older almost, so it's like so the dumb stuff that we did is like it's not even applicable to the human beings that we are currently, right? But he had a piece of crap car that leaked oil, right? And he had the money to get it fixed, but he didn't want to spend the money to get it fixed, right? Didn't want to do it. And he would literally that's my cell phone, don't worry about that. He would literally, the little beep is my cell phone. He would literally, and I mean literally, buy extra quarts of oil to drive where he wanted to go, right? Then when he would get there on the way back, he would put oil in the car to get himself back, and it would keep getting worse. One time, before in the beginning, when it was the oil, he would buy a quart of oil and he would put a half a quart in on the way up, and on the way back he put a half a quart in. Then it got to the point where, okay, he needs 2 quarts. He needs a quart to go where he wants to go and a quart to come back. And I'm going, dude, did you not see that you're losing all this oil? It's going to come to a point where you're literally going to have a trunk full of oil just to get from point A to point B. Man, shut up. I got this. Well, like I said, he went from half a quart of oil up and half a quart of oil back to a quart of oil up and a quart of oil back. And eventually, I think you know where this is going. This fool now has 2 quarts of oil, 1 up, 1 back, but he's going a much greater distance to see a girlfriend who wanted to. She had a better car than his. She could have come pick him up. No, man, I'm the man. I do that. I pick the girl up, Jack. I do that, my bro. No, man. So he drives to a house. They do a dating or whatever the crap that is, right? And she's quite a bit away, which is not a problem if your car is working properly. Right, I've driven an hour to see a girlfriend or 2 hours to see a girlfriend, but I'm a professional comedian. I'm a retired comedian right now. I'm going to come out of retirement later this year, next year, whatever. But that's beside the point. So driving 2 hours to me is not really that big of a deal. I've driven 2 hours to go to a gig and done the whole gig, done the meet and greet afterwards, and then driven back. Ain't no big deal. So it's not a big deal. But this was a 3-hour trip. Right? This was a 3-hour and change trip, and he only saw her on the weekends. No big deal, but it's a bit of a hike that he was taking. He was taking a bit of a hike. When his normal trips were like an hour, now he's going 3 times further and didn't take any extra oil with him because he was stupid. He gets there no problem. Right, he notices a little bit of shaking or something, but that's all right. I made it there. I'll make it back. That's what he thought. Right? He gets there, spends time with his lady. Fantastic, great. He's on the way back. He gets half back. Car ain't running. 'Cause he's spitting oil out the daggone car. Yes, he is. Calls me. Had to walk to find a payphone. 'Cause they didn't have cell phones back then. Not like they have now. Hey, man. Hey, what's going on, man? What's going on? I'm thinking, why is he calling me this late at night? I know he ain't calling me to talk about what he did with his girlfriend. 'Cause I don't like hearing about, what people did. I mean, what people do with their girlfriends, that's their business. I never liked that kind of crap. I had friends that would tell me when me and my wife, I'm like, yo, your wife is a friend of mine. I don't want to hear about what you did to her butt and what you did to each other's butts and genitals. No, I don't want to hear about that crap. I talked about it on an earlier podcast when I had a bunch of friends where they would all like get into detail about what they did with their significant others, and I did not want to hear it. I'm like, yo, your wife kisses me on the mouth. The last thing I need to do is hear about her licking chocolate sauce off your ass. I don't want to think about your ass when she kissing me on the face. Just calm down. Shut up. Back to the story. Hey, man. I'm stuck at the Dookie. I said, where is that? That's on the route to get. That's like an hour and a half from here. Yeah, would you mind? I'm like, all right, man. Now I'm thinking if somebody makes a mistake this dumb, it's not possible for them to make a mistake this dumb again, right? This is an intelligent man. I didn't go to college. He has a master's. He has a degree. He has a degree. I didn't go to college. He's an intelligent man, an educated man. He's not going to make a mistake this dumb again, is he? I put a pin in that. I drive an hour and a half to get him. Unfortunately, it's the middle of the night, so the hour and a half drive is actually an hour and a half. Well, it was a little less than that. I get there, so I have to go there with him. We drive him around. He doesn't have any more change to make phone calls, so I get some change. And he's calling. Like I said, there was no cell phones like that back then. People were wearing pagers back then. That's how long ago it was. We finally get a tow truck to tow him back, and he rides with me, and then I got to give him a ride the next day all the way back up there to get the car out of the thing, and he had to go get the money from the bank, and I had to take him to the bank, and they get the money for the thing, and and then they towed the thing all the way back to his house, because now and I got to, you get the point. But if that happens one time, it's an inconvenience, it's a pain in the neck, but it's your friend. It's your friend, right? But there's a part of you in the back of your mind going, I should have let you stay in the middle of I should have let your punk behind stay on the side of the highway till the morning. Let you sleep in the car for being that stupid. That's what you're thinking. But you're not actually going to do it, right? Remember what I told you to put a pin in? You can now take the pin out, because he gets a punk mechanic, not a real mechanic, but someone who kind of knows how to fix cars, to fix the car. You've already paid to get the car towed the first time. You paid to get the car towed the second time. Right now you're paying this fool to fix the car who's not really a mechanic. He's someone who just kind of messes around with cars because you refuse to go to a mechanic. By the way, the amount of it actually cost to repair his car was way less than the first tow. If he had just spent that money, then he would not have this problem. Back to the story. Right? Unbeknownst to him, even though he had his car semi-repaired, I have now moved. I didn't move. A girl that I was seeing, I went to another state to visit a girl that I was seeing because she was visiting friends, right? And I knew her friends and I liked her friends. So I drove all the way there. It was quite a bit away, but it's not a big deal. I'm with my woman. I'm with her friends who I like. And let's be honest, I'm going to be getting it on with my woman the entire weekend. And I did. Yeah, I miss Anthony. Anyway, so I didn't tell him because I don't tell everybody everywhere I'm going. I'm going to run my schedule by all my friends. I do what I do, and I do what I do, right? So I'm quite a bit away. I'm hours away. And I mean hours away. He doesn't know that. He's going about his business. He goes to see the same lady again under the same circumstances again. His car is leaking, of course, again, because the guy that fixes cars is not a mechanic, just somebody who messes around with cars. And this time he's Captain Genius. This time, he takes enough. I think his car holds 5 quarts of oil. He figures, what's the worst case scenario? I'll just take 5 quarts of oil. No big deal. Drives to see his lady. Goes to see his lady. And does with his lady the same thing I was doing for a couple states away with my lady, except not as good because he's not his Anthony. Back to the story. He drives and now he's coming home and he's got to put the oil in there. Now the thing's full of oil. That'll get me home. That's what he thought. Side of the road. Calls my house. Of course I'm not there. Calls my pager. Oh, who's paging me? What the heck? All right, me calling it. Hey man, what's going on? remember what you did a couple weeks ago? I did a lot of things a couple of weeks ago. We talking about, when I was with that girl. What, man? I mean, look, stop with the cryptic stuff, man. I'm here with my woman. And I'm hanging out with some of her friends. Oh, okay. Well, I'm sorry about this, but I'm gonna need you to do what you did last week and come pick me up. Come pick you up. Yeah, I'm actually a little further away. I didn't make it as far from my girl's house this time. I'm actually like right by my girl's house. I'm like, I only made like a half an hour out from my girl's house. I'm like 2 hours away from. I know you drove a half an hour and a half last time. This is the last time. Dude, I'm in, and I named the state I was in. He's like, the hell you doing there? I said, I just told you. I'm with my woman, and I'm hanging out with her and a couple of her friends. She goes, oh, man, can you come get me? You want me to drive 14 hours in one direction to come get you? Yeah, no, can't do it. Now, part of me felt guilty, even though I didn't do anything wrong. A part of me remembers myself going, he needs to be stuck by the side of the road to teach him a lesson because he relies on me too much. Because he was just assuming. He just assumed I'd be available to make that trip. And I didn't even, I felt guilty because I would curse him out. If I was still back home, I would have went to get him, cursed him out, and then told him I'm not doing this again. But this time he got stranded. And there was nothing I could do about it. The only thing I could do was call a bunch of friends and see if I can find somebody to hook him up. And then he found another one of our friends who, fortunately for him, was visiting, I forgot how it worked out, but whatever it was, he was somewhere doing something that was midway between where we all lived and where my friend was now. So for him, just like me, it was like an hour and 20-minute drive for him. And he pulls up, and they told me what he said. He told me what he said to him. Hey, man, didn't this Anthony come pick your dumb ass up from this, man? F you, man. You lucky, man. And he cursed him out, right? But think about that for a minute. He just assumed because I was Captain Reliable, because I was always there for him, because he knows I will always help him out. He just assumed that he could do it again. Assumed. Once again, had he got his car repaired, it would have cost less than the first tow, let alone the second tow, let alone paying the money to that fool who didn't really fix his car, who just kind of patched up something. Sometimes you can be too reliable. And when you're too reliable, people, like I said, start to think of you as a tool that they can pull out of their toolbox as opposed to being a human being who they should take into consideration. As it turns out, he made it home. He finally got the car fixed, and we never had that problem again. Mainly because every time we saw him, we'd roast him up and call him an idiot. Right? But I'm pretty sure you can relate to that. You've been reliable to somebody. Right? You've been reliable in a relationship, like I said in the first story, where you're so reliable that they take you for granted and then they get rid of you and they don't realize that they messed up. Hopefully you didn't get into bar fights or attempt to get into bar fights or almost get into bar fights because you assumed some big guy was going to come out the woodwork and save you. And I sure as heck hope that you didn't get stranded by the road because you're an idiot. I'm pretty sure if you're listening to me, you of course have great taste in podcasts and also you're smart people. It's good to be reliable, but it's not good to be too reliable, right? But let's be honest. No matter what, I'm always going to be too reliable. Like, I'm always going to create these fantastic podcasts for you to listen to. But don't take it for granted, because one day I'm going to come on here, and instead of telling you incredible stories with my smooth voice, I'm going to go find a phone book and just read the numbers out of there. I know what's happening right now. About a third of my audience is like 18 to 24. They're going, phone book? What the hell is that? Shut up. Shut your young butts up. Back in the day, we used to have books with phone numbers in them. And then, shut up. Back to me. That's right. So don't take this for granted, Dag, now, because I might be here. George Franklin, 211-685-9. George Franklin, 218-978, then reading the numbers. You understand? Yeah, that's right. Folks, this is episode number 498. Thank you very much. This is the Yes Anthony Says podcast. Do me a favor, my friend. Google me, S. Anthony Thomas, and you will see all my social media. You'll see my social media. Or you can go to Linktree, /S Anthony Thomas and see all my links. You know what I mean? Because I'm on YouTube, and my YouTube channel is Mr. S Anthony Thomas, MR/S Anthony Thomas. Okay, so go subscribe to that. I know a lot of you who've already subscribed to the podcast. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Have actually come over to the podcast, so you've already done that. But find another social media I'm on, Dagnabbit, and go subscribe to that. Go look for me on Instagram and TikTok and all of that crap, and then and go subscribe to that. Much love to you all, my friends. Thank you for listening. Hello to all the people that have come over from the YouTube channel. Thank you very much. And everybody, I will see you again next week. Much love to you. Because, I'm going to be here every week because, well, I'm Mr. Reliable. You dig? Take care. Much love to you. Bye-bye.